So that was where we thought, why don't we open something like, an office hours where we get to interact with, uh, prospects from across the industry without the pressure to close a sale or to, convert them, etc. So this session today is the first iteration of this initiative. And, we would like to keep it free flowing. And, we would like to take up queries from your side, any questions that you have, any topics that you would like to discuss. So I have my entire R&D team here. Let me also introduce the people. Manish leads the R&D initiative. So great to see you, Joe. So Manish here leads the initiative, and I also have JD, who is probably one of the most senior members on the team and part of the core team here at DataBeat. We have Akhilesh, who again comes in with more than 10 years of experience on the AdTech side. He works with various clients on the buy side as well as with a lot of SSP accounts. Chendu is again a part of the R&D team. So depending upon the kind of topic that you would like to explore, depending upon the kind of topic that you would like to discuss, we will have the right set of resources, taking you into a separate room. And we also have Aditi, who is the host today, as well as, the brain behind this entire initiative. So we would love to see how this goes. We would love to take feedback from this entire interaction to see how we can probably improve it. And that, I think, is the context setting for the session today. So I leave it to you. Do you have any specific topics in mind? Are there certain problems that you're trying to solve at your workplace where you feel that, you could probably just understand a little more about how others are approaching it or how the industry is looking at it? You know, I'm not claiming that we will know everything. Obviously, ad tech is an ocean. Things keep changing. But at least we can share the kind of insights that we have, which will probably help you reach a solution much faster.
Okay. Yeah, I actually, um, I'm not a publisher or, an SSP. I'm a consultant myself. And so I work with publishers and ad tech companies. I don't have a strong data analytics product, but I do a lot of analysis, and I'm kind of the innovation as a service for a lot of publishers and ad tech companies where I come in and help them understand what they don't see in the industry. And I help them do things they haven't done before. And so, like, reverse engineering their competitors, like modularizing their technology, breaking past loading issues on thousands of publisher sites, or just inventing a new way of doing header bidding or a new type of ad experience, like two-part ad experiences and stuff like that. Um, I could, reverse engineer things like Google Ad Manager, and um, I know how to make your ads serve in all the weirdest places.
So
Um,
James, as I suggested, you should probably jump onto our side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a consultant. So what I'm doing is I'm now like I'm working with publishers, and sometimes they just want base level analysis of like, okay, what are the levers they should pull to optimize their header bidding and things like that. And I can go and find levers, but I'm curious what your approach is and like what other people's approaches are to find the right decision trees to make to really find like pockets of revenue that can be unlocked.
Great, James. I really appreciate that, and glad to get connected on this platform. So we will have a room for header bidding. Manish, you could probably figure out who could probably be, having the interaction with James. Meanwhile, we also have Sebastian who has joined us. Sebastian, a very warm welcome to our, office hours. If you could probably do a quick intro, any couple of things that you have on mind that you'd love to discuss with us. We'll probably carve out rooms according to the kind of topics that you wish to discuss.
Hey, well, I honestly was just, this is the first time I joined the session. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, Sebastian. This is the first iteration of the session as well. So this is going to be a learning experience for us too.
Oh, okay. Um, and up until a few months ago, I was working at a programmatic ad agency
Okay.
in account services. Um, I'm no longer there, unfortunately, so I'm just kind of you know, learning, joining groups, networking, and obviously I'm looking for work.
Any when you were at the programmatic agency, were there concepts that were running around you? Were there a set of topics that were being discussed around which you thought you could probably kind of dig deeper into? Today's session, today's your interaction with our team could focus on any of those areas which you kind of were interacting,
Mhm.
were kind of a part of, and we can definitely discuss more on those.
Yeah, okay. All right. Um, I honestly don't have anything top of mind right now, so I was just joining the call, the group to see what it was all about.
Absolutely. Then what we will do is, Manish, JD, we can start with the header bidding part of how we approach header bidding and what we do there. Uh, where did we move, Manish and
Yeah. Actually, I did move James along with Aditya and Akhila, but if you want, we can continue.
I think we can probably connect here
Okay.
in the main room itself, where Sebastian could also probably get to be a part of the discussion. And as more people join in, we can probably carve out a separate room. Maybe that would make better sense.
Sure.
So I just saw them disappear from the list and I was wondering what happened. So Sebastian, we were hoping that we will have multiple rooms, etc., depending upon the requirement. So we can keep this discussion free flowing. Please feel free to barge in, interrupt, ask questions. In fact, share your ideas because that's how I believe, we will also be learning from this entire experience and hopefully make this a much better, kind of a setting for the subsequent interactions. So,
Okay, I probably learn more from you than the other way around.
you might, we never know. We do hope that's the case, but yes, Adi, Akila, over to you. Can you also switch on the cameras, Adi, Akila? It's easier if there's a face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So actually,
we
we-
missed your question because we were into a breakout room for 30 seconds and we were back.
No issues. James, James has, a lot of experience working with publishers and, helping them unlock revenues. What he wanted to understand is how do we approach header bidding and what are the kind of levers that we move within it in order to help our publishers make more monies. We could probably start with that as a topic, and I'm sure Manish, JD, Chandu, please, do come in as you see, required.
Sure.
Okay, I think
James is also here, so we can get started.
okay. Well, at a high level, when you're talking about levers in programmatic optimizations, I think a couple of things that we came quite a lot of times is how the setups work for publishers, especially talking about like CAM setup, the on-page setup, etc. When I talk about, say, starting with CAM setup, one of the things that we have identified that could be optimized way too frequently and way too much is one being UPR setup or the unified pricing rules. And if you might have read our articles and case studies before, you wrote that UPR was one of the things that we got. A couple of things outside of that talk about a simple thing that is out is say the COPA restriction items that you put. So that is automatically.
Adi, your voice is breaking a little. Can you come closer to the microphone?
Is this any better?
Yeah, and can you also be a part of the camera? It's very difficult to otherwise see
Wait,
you.
give us a second. No worries. Is this any better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Good to know. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, one of the simple things, as an example, that I would say is, restricting on COPA. On the line item setup, you restricting COPA is one of the things that you as a publisher generally miss out and don't notice that you're losing out a good amount of revenue because you're not serving for those users. And that's a simple setup change. You just have to enable it and you're good. But that's as simple as that sometimes you should see that publishers miss out. A couple of other things that I would talk about is, say, when we're talking about pricing rules, everyone goes with setting up a simple pricing structure where you're like, hey, I have a rule for, say, desktop homepage. I have a rule where I have a floor for like $1 or like 30 cents. General $1 for display type, but 30 cents, say. That's a default way or a static way of going about for your pricing rules. There's a slightly different methodology that you can go with rules as well, which we call it the multiplier or AdX multiplier, where, as you know, AdX is one of the SSPs that takes a good chunk of your inventory. On average, you might see publishers having like 30%, 40%, or in fact, in some scenarios, 50 to 60% of AdX impressions being served as well. That is primarily because AdX as an SSP has the capability and the targeting to take up more of your inventory or bid higher and take your inventory. Now, one of the simple ways that we try to push AdX further than what it is doing today is the concept called multiplier that we use, where whatever bid, for example, that you get from pre-bid, say I got a bid of, say, 10 cents from pre-bid, and I put a multiplier of, say, 2. Basically, rather than giving AdX a floor of 11 cents, where I'm saying if you bid 11 cents, you can win, I'm instead telling AdX that it has to bid, say, more than 20 cents to win that same impression. Wherein in this scenario, AdX is capable of bidding 20 cents to win that. It just bids 11 cents because it can win by bidding 11 cents. So that is one of the areas we've noticed that we see a good chunk of revenue uplift coming from as well. And these are like, I wouldn't say this is very simple in terms of the setup. As a concept, it's pretty simple. You're just making sure you let AdX win or bid higher than what you're significantly higher than what your pre-bid is bidding, to just make sure that you're getting better value from them. So these are like 1-2 examples of what I would say we have noticed that would help us in terms of optimizing. And this we have tried out in a wide scale as well with multiple publishers.
Let's just hold on there. James, a couple of things that we were discussing about is the AdX multiplier that we have seen a lot of publishers benefit from. So if you have any questions on that, we can go deeper into this. Let me also quickly, welcome Tijo. Hi, Tijo. Very nice connecting with you here.
Hi, Shashank. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm sure it's late for you also. I guess that you're also based out of India. So, Tijo, this is a very small effort that we are putting in terms of trying to take up, different kinds of questions from various publishers, as a part of their programmatic revenue optimization, or maybe ad ops, or their setups, or their, ad stacks. So we also have James and Sebastian who have joined us on this session. One of the first queries that James has come up with is he himself is a consultant to a lot of publishers. So he was more interested in figuring out the kind of stuff that we do here at DataBeat that allows publishers to kind of make more monies. And one of the things that we were discussing there was about the AdX multiplier. So any specific questions that you have, we can always have a separate room where we can take up your questions along with some of our team members. That's a quick context setting for this session.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'll like to be listening to the conversation. And if there is anything coming up, definitely I'll chip in.
Absolutely. At any point of time, if in case you believe that we require a separate one-to-one, please let us know so that we can create a separate room for that.
Sure. Thank you.
So, James, that's any questions or any thoughts from your side on whatever Adi was mentioning?
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I've done those things. I have a script for the changing line items for COPA restrictions, and I know the different ways to do the AdX multiplier in the UPR world. These are what I would call like recipes that can, publishers should do them. But I'm like specifically interested in like what data do you look at when you're trying to like evaluate a partner or trying to like see not necessarily if there's unfilled or lost opportunities or things that are broken, but actually find ways to generate lift in like using the data they have available through like pre-bid analytics and deeper GAM data dives than just the surface.
Got it. Got it. And please don't mind me eating. I missed my dinner, so I'm a little late. I'm so sorry for that. Manish,
Yeah.
Adi, Akhilesh, you had some thought. You can probably pitch in.
Yeah, one thing, coming to the data that you mentioned, the data points that we look into when it comes to the pre-bid optimization is we try to use the log level data, the GAM log level, the GAM data transfer files. In that, we try to look into what bids are coming in and which advertisers are winning when the pre-bid is bidding. Is it the TAM bidding, TAM winning the impressions? And what is the difference between the CPMs what is the bid CPM that came from pre-bid and what is the win CPM from the TAM, correct? So we use log level data a lot because in log level data you get all the dimensions available there because it records for all the impressions in a row. And there are a lot of restrictions when it comes to the GAM UI. You are not able to pull the two key values together in GAM. That's why when you use low level, correct, you can pull a lot of dimensions and try to understand that, hey, what is happening there, right? To give an example here, one of the things that we did using the low level that one of our publisher was asking that, hey, I have 12 pre-bid partners and they wanted to cut off 5 partners. How would you do that, correct? One thing that we can do is like look into the bid rate, win rate, other things. But we decided a new, you can say a metric is called value add. What it means is that, hey, when one of the pre-bid partner is winning, what was the second highest bid? Right? Let's say Rubicon is winning at $1, Magnite is winning at $1, and Index was bidding 95 cents. So the value add of Magnite is only 5 cents here, right? Even though it is generating a lot of revenue, but the value add is not that great. So that's how we understand that value add concept here. And if you see that, hey, the partner is not adding the value, we decided to cut off that, right? And then the same thing, we did like a uniqueness metric also, which helps us to determine that, hey, if there is any partner which is interested into some specific inventory, correct? There is a lot of bids. We noticed that, hey, for one of our publishers, Cargo was bidding on the entertainment a lot, correct? So, and they were not bidding when it comes to the, like the bid CPMs on the entertainment section was much higher compared to the other sections, correct? So the suggestion here was that, hey, can we use Cargo only for entertainment section? Because that will reduce the number of auctions happening for the other section of the page, other sections of the website, right? So that's how we go about it. We use log level, we use pre-bid analytics. Like for pre-bid analytics, some of our partners, publishers use the wrapper, like Magnite wrapper, programmatic wrapper. And like if someone is using in-house that they are using the client side head reading, we have pipelined the data to GA using the pre-bid analytics adapter of GA, right? Where we sample the 5% of the data to GA and look into that, hey, how much, the same thing, like what we could do using the pre-bid analytics data provided by the wrappers, we could do the same thing when you add the adapter of GA to there. So you can do that part as well there. So before I move forward, I would like to that if I'm in the right direction to answer your question, or do you have anything else that you wanted to ask?
No, yeah, that's great. Like I think that getting log level data is its own challenge. And like you said, like you have some of your clients might have some of it. Some of my clients might have some of it. I totally get that. And
Yeah.
then like with clients in GAM small business, as well as 360, and there are costs to like associated with getting the data that you're talking about. So like I get that like the second highest bid and calculating the lift is super valuable. I think that also, isolating which bidders are buying the inventory that no one else wants
Yeah, that
is
that.
also, super meaningful. Um, yeah, I was hoping there would be like some kind of extra like aha moment of like, oh, like I could just run this report in GAM and then use this to tweak something that I don't already know about. But I don't know if that exists.
Yeah. In GAM also.
James, I think
Sorry.
you know that would probably be a little too easy. I'm assuming most of what we do, you would have also probably been doing that if it were probably just taking a report and tweaking it. But Akhilesh, you were mentioning something around RCPMs.
Yes, Shashank. Hi, James. Hi, Sebastian. So I'm speaking from Saiteja's microphone. Hope I am audible. So yeah, James, I was referring to RCPMs. So basically, a lot of publishers are confused whether to look into CPMs, fill rate, or what exactly to gauge their performance. Because like if the fill rate is high, sometimes the revenue can be low. And same, your CPMs are damn high. Maybe in display you can get $3, $4 sometimes, but the revenue is still low. But what is that exact metric or KPI that you can depend on to gauge your performance? So I would say that is RCPM. So how much revenue are you making at a request level? So that is one metric that we follow here at DataBeat just to gauge the performance of the publishers. And to achieve that, of course, we have many optimization techniques that Manish explained, and we also have this in chart. But the one simple optimizations that we do is like the supply path optimizations. We have many bidders through each integrations. Such example, maybe just take an example of Magnite. It comes through TAM, it comes through pre-bid, it comes through various integrations. So we kind of try to see how it's performing at our inventory. Let's take a site, abc.com. Magnet is performing well through TAM integration, but not at pre-bid, such that its revenue is very low through pre-bid. So we try to deactivate Magnet on abc.com so that our overall revenue at request level is very high. So that is one approach we follow a lot to increase the overall performance of the account.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like definitely I agree that like the request level revenue is I haven't used the abbreviation RCPM before, so I was wondering what you meant by that. But yeah, I just call it like the RPM is kind of like what I would look at. Like I consider CPM as like a buyer metric, and like the RPM is the seller metric that should always include the unsold opportunities as well. But people use things like eCPM, which don't equal what they think it does all the time. The language in the industry can be difficult. One thing that I like to do is I set up a minute by minute key value on my publisher's site so I can measure their RP, the revenue per minute, which is also sometimes abbreviated as RPM for me. But the revenue per minute is really cool because we want to make sure that we are getting the right amount of revenue and impressions in a minute, and being able to look at the revenue per minute on like individual pages helps me ensure that I am getting the optimal placement of having 2 ads in view on desktop and 1 ad in view on mobile at all times.
I think, James, that's a very nice thought, because by capturing revenue per minute, you are also capturing the audience engagement in a way. Because it also captures the page views per session and the session duration kind of rolled into together. And that I think is, a very nice way of looking at things. But have you observed your revenue per minute giving you any additional insight that your regular metrics like, an RCPM is probably not able to give?
Yeah, I think that like it really is about like how well are you monetizing the traffic you get. And if we consider like in this world of refresh on publisher sites and like we need to monetize the long sessions really well. Now CPMs do tend to go down throughout a page view. And it also kind of gives us that insight, but we can see at what point those CPMs are going down low enough that we should limit the amount of ad requests, as well as like we can kind of see like the drop off versus on different pieces of content. And so if we're looking at like one piece of content having like a revenue up to like the 15th minute still being strong, and then we look at CPM and impressions and revenue all together to kind of create the triangle of the like monetization, but also to see like how much like that content has value in a long-term session.
Absolutely. As I said, that's where I think the audience signal also comes in. The minute you bring in the revenue per minute, the audience engaging with the content, and how useful is the content, etc., also comes into the picture. Tijo, any thoughts, if you're doing any of these things at or if there are any practical hurdles that you're seeing when you try to incorporate some of what we are discussing, at your place, be it the AdX multiplier or be it the kind of RCPM versus eCPM. Are you seeing any such issues when you are doing this at a practical level on the ground?
Yeah, obviously, when it comes to the optimization point of view, a couple of challenges which we normally faces is when we consider RPM as a metric, lazy loading of ads comes into a big concern because scroll depth on mobiles varies from section to section. So that brings in, when it comes to a generalization, that becomes a problem. And especially with tier 1 countries versus GCC versus India. So that's the 3 geos which we operate in a totally different standardization works out over there. So that's one thing which we normally observe when we are looking at our RPM versus a value CPM. Again, most of our partners are on price priority line mediation. So the challenges are comparatively negotiated over there, but optimization scope is also compromised. So that's where we were looking at, okay, what are the options beyond it?
Got
So
it.
I think these sessions are quite insightful on that area. So I was just listening to James and all. So been trying to understand how exactly you are looking at it from a different perspective.
Manish, JD, Adi, any thoughts on how some of these metrics are getting compromised by, or our ability to optimize on some of these is getting compromised by, the refreshers, the lazy loads? Have we seen such scenarios with any of our other publishers? How did we kind of overcome that?
Yeah, we have seen like refresh with the refresh, the CPM gets lower. Like if you refresh the ads, the refresh ads has lower CPMs compared to the non-refresh ads. And to overcome that, we have used bid caching, where we store the bids, where we cache the bid from the partners and use on the next refresh request for the same slot. So that helps to bring down the difference between the refreshed non-refresh ads and the refresh ads.
I think even the viewability metric will get affected, right, with ad refresh. So, Tijo and James, I don't know if you, tried ad refresh, as Manish was saying, the CPMs as the ad slot gets refreshed for the first or the second refresh, the CPM might be low, and then as we go, it keeps increasing. But again, after 5th refresh or 6th refresh, again we see it is coming down,
Yeah.
right? And same thing we see with viewability also, right? So the refreshed slot has higher viewability, so we expect pre-bid partner to bid higher. But again, after a 5th refresh, now DSP would know that this is coming from the same page or same slot. So they'll start bidding again at a lower CPM.
Yeah.
Right? So CPM viability would be affected in a positive way and negative way. Again, depends on which refresh number it is.
Yeah.
And also, apart from refresh, the general things that we do, right? You guys might also do like the bid density analysis to define the UPR floor, which can control the bids that we are receiving from the pre-bid partners. So coming to bid density, anything Tijo or James, anything interesting that you do differently? Because on our end, what we do is we try to understand the reports that we get from the pre-bid partners and also the key value reports from the GAM and try to create a bid density analysis and see, like create a bid bucket, right? To see how many bids we receive between say 0 to 10 cents and then 10 cents to 15 cents and then try to gauge our inventory value. Is that something similar that you do, or how do you control the bids of the pre-bid partners?
So I'm currently working on a product to traffic shape and apply floors in like a very optimized and special way. I don't want to be too transparent with the logic we're putting behind it, but I think that there is like a key there's a key piece of adjusting the levers of like which bidders you're asking a bid like for a bid from and what floor prices you're sending and like how you position your inventory to the market, and you should be able to change that as the bidders respond within a very short amount of time. So that's like one of the big opportunities I see for like this year for my publishers and for all the publishers in the industry who want to use my product is being able to have additional revenue lift by massaging the signals that are sent in the bid requests.
Are you also doing any kind of a bid density analysis at your side? Are you seeing any patterns emerging, or is that something that you want us to probably go a little deeper in terms of what we are seeing?
So right now we are using Amazon TAM. So I think more of the dashboard does that reporting parameters to us, and then we do our own optimizations at our end. So I think that's how we are looking at. Yeah, bid density is definitely a metric which we look into. Bid density and also the density at bid range. So that is also taken into consideration because we being on the regional language side and with scattered audience, like if you're looking at not our predominant traffic comes from Kerala, which is like not a prime market for national brands. So our bid range also comes into picture when it comes to defining UPRs and flows. But looking at the TAM data, I think we get the insights, but not what you can say. It's not a custom driven as you guys do. It's more like the dashboard ones.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, right? Like if we do it manually, I think we can have bid ranges or buckets at different page level and different slot level and try to customize the floors according to that as per the behavior of each page or each slot. And also I want to discuss around the timeouts, right? Do you guys, set same timeout for all the partners or, different timeouts for each partner after observing? I think that is another, optimizations that we try, because what we have seen is the similar timeouts doesn't work and we kind of lose bits, and Magnite might take more time to come back. So we kind of customize the code and have different timeouts for different pre-bid partners. Do you do the same?
JD, before we go further deep, let me also welcome Alexi. Hey, Alexi. Thank you so much for taking out time joining us here today.
Yeah, hey guys. Nice to meet you, everyone. Sorry for being late. I had another meeting. Yeah, and as for timeouts, I totally agree that there is no golden rule of 150 milliseconds, and for Magnite, for example, we have 300, and for some other DSPs, we have less. But when it comes to exchanges like Magnite, it should be at least 300.
Too low, right? Internal timeout? Are you talking about the internal?
So maybe I missed the topic, but I was thinking that you're talking about like Tmax value in the bid request.
Yes, we are referring to Tmax. What we have seen is the ideal timeout is 1000 milliseconds, right? Chandra, is it not low? 300?
300, I believe it's very low considering the whole process to happen there. Ideally, I feel
here we may be talking about different like types of integrations. If it's pre-bid, then yeah, it should be around 1000. But if it's server to server, then it's 300 is enough.
Yeah, makes sense.
Correct. So for internal timeout, we recommend usually 400 milliseconds, which is very near to 300 what you told. When we come to the on-page timeout, which is for pre-bid client side, we recommend 1000 to 1500 milliseconds based on how many partners do they have on page, so that the process does not get disturbed and partners don't get timed out. Ideally, we have seen 1000 to 1500 milliseconds on the client side is working good right now. People also go beyond that, but that leads to latency on the page and adds loads a little slower there.
So, Alexi, like as you have just joined, like we are kind of discussing any optimizations around pre-bid side, right? Any specific question?
Alexi, do you also want to quickly do a small intro?
Yeah, sure, guys. I'm Alexei. I'm the VP of product at MJD, and MJD is a global advertising platform with the focus on the native format, but we also work with display and video. So we are global. We have like 15 offices worldwide, and work with the different markets, and mostly with the performance advertisers.
Thank you, Alexi, for that.
Thank you, Alexi. So we have here, so far we have been discussing a few things on the publisher side. Tijo comes from Manorama, which is a huge media organization based out of India. We also have James, who has been a freelance consultant and is building a product on the floor optimizations, etc. We also have Sebastian, who was working with a programmatic agency, and so far we have been discussing about AdX multipliers. We have been discussing about timeouts. We have been discussing about the impact of lazy load and refreshes on different kinds of optimizations that typically publishers do. But if in case you have any specific topics that you just want to bring forth, or you want us to probably dig deeper, we'll be happy to take them up. And if you want to probably have a more one-to-one kind of a conversation, we can always do it in a separate breakout room. So any specific things that you have in mind that you think could probably be of a relative interest to everybody?
I guess no. It's my first time, and I was planning to listen more and maybe give my feedback on some of the topics. So I guess we can continue with your agenda.
Great.
I
Right with the free-flowing discussion, so there isn't any specific point that we are kind of bringing in. Depending upon how the questions are coming in, we are generally going with the flow. So please feel free to jump into the discussion, either in terms of either questioning something or probably providing an answer to something somebody has already said, to keep the discussion going.
Okay.
Manish, JD, we were on, I
I
think.
actually have a kind of a question for Alexei, right? Like, so Alexei, as you're from the advertiser side or the agency, it is interesting. Like, we were discussing all the optimizations on the publisher side. Coming to the advertiser side, as you guys, assuming you'll target audience based on, you want to show them personalized ads based on their interests. So, when you try to bid through pre-bid, right? Let's say you are connected to a SSP and you are coming through pre-bid. So what kind of information you look for? Is it same for all the integrations like pre-bid or open auction, or is it different in each integration?
So as much information we can get as better, as we are running mostly performance advertising, and as more we can know about the user, about the environment where the ad is placed, about the placement itself, the better. So I'd say that for pre-bid, we prefer to have the client side integration. So in this case, we can collect our user IDs through cookies, match them to the right audiences on our end, and be able to target the specific ad, because many of the advertisers that are running with us use segmentation and audience targeting. So it's important to have the information about the user. And also with the client side integration, we can also collect more information about the page. If it's a news website, then we collect the information about the article, like the context. Also, there are targetings like the keywords for some of the advertisers, and if we don't have the access to the page, in this case, we then cannot run. We basically cut some part of the demand that in most of the cases has the highest CPMs and CPCs.
Got it. And also, we were discussing optimization around ad refresh, right? How advertisers or demand partners react to the refreshed inventory. So what we observed is for the initial refreshes for the same slot, if for the same slot getting refreshed for 3 or 4 times, the CPM goes up. but from the sixth or seventh time, we see it coming down a bit. So do you also bid in a similar way, or do you see a different trend as an advertiser?
As an advertiser, so yeah, especially if this is the refresh, like based on the rules like Google does it, so only in the viewable zone and like 30 seconds in view. In this case, all the next like ad requests and refreshes are getting a high viewability, and they are getting the high CPMs. So when we're working with the publishers, we also refresh the placements that we are buying, and we see the increase in overall revenue from those refreshed impressions.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you, Alexi, for that.
Let's say, do you have the video, like if you see the other native platforms, like you started having the video as well as part of the placements, do you also have that feature coming in?
Yeah, we do have the video placement, so it's seamlessly integrated in our widgets. Basically, the placements that we have on the publishers combine all types of the demand, so native, video, and display, depending on who pays higher price and who has the fill rate for the specific ad request. We may show different types of demand on that placement.
Got it, Alexi. Sebastian, Tijo, any questions from your side? James, any thoughts on the discussion?
No, actually, I was having a question with regards to the previous topic. We were talking about setting up timeouts in a different pattern for different partners. So, how does that affect the creative render rate? Because do we have that kind of a attention span, screen time from the readers?
Download speed.
Manish?
Yep. Yes. So I think so, like when we were discussing about the timeout difference for different partners, look, it means that there is a maximized time out for overall the website, right? You have a timeout for the website, and so that your creative render part doesn't impact. Because if you have different timeouts on the website, it definitely impacts that creative render, as you mentioned. So what we do here is like, hey, we see that Magnite responds back in at 500 milliseconds or 600 milliseconds, correct? So, but for Magnite, we'll set a timeout period of 500 milliseconds, but overall website might be at 1000 milliseconds. All the bidders has to respond back in the time, but for some partners, we give the higher timeouts. For some partners, we give the lower. But at the page level, you have at the maximum timeout, so that your creative render doesn't impact.
So it's going to be standard across all the geos, right?
Yes.
If you have a different subdomain for the different geos, let's say you have US as its subdomain, or it can be like you have by the states, correct? Then it you can set it different across the
So
subdomain.
we work with SSPs also. What we have seen is because the the servers, right, their location, endpoint location, there will be different endpoint locations. Few are in, let's say, Asia, few are in US. So whatever comes under US, let's say the request that is coming, right, So Canada, let's say the user is in Canada, but still the location is in US, I mean the endpoint of that SSP, then the timeout will be same. The response rate will be same. But whereas, let's say if somebody is accessing from Asia, then the server or the endpoint location will be different. So these things are on the SSP side. So publishers might not know this, but this optimization is done on the SSP end. So, as Manish was saying, the timeouts optimization for each partner is important for one of this reason as well. Yeah. I hope I answered your question about the geo.
James,
Yeah, to a greater extent, yes.
James, do you also have any thoughts on Tijo's question based on your own experiences with publishers?
Yeah, I think I wasn't actively engaged in this. I was doing something else at the same time, but I think that timeouts are important. It's also important to figure out like what those timeouts are, because like there's different levels of the timeout. We're talking about header bidding. There's a global timeout for all bidders, but there's also the HTTP timeout that's bidder specific. And like because browsers limit the amount of simultaneous requests that can happen when we request bids and header bidding, it's not all simultaneous. And so if you can tweak the HTTP timeout to ensure that no one can monopolize the entire global header bidding auction timeout. And I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Got it, James.
Interesting. And when you have custom timeouts, what's the number of ideal bidders you expect that to be on the platform?
So
I expect it to be like 500 milliseconds like per bidder. And so and then like you can have 2 or 3 happening simultaneously. So if you have 5 bidders, then 1 second is probably sufficient for the global timeout. But if you have 10 bidders, then you probably want 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds. I wouldn't want to go up to like 3 seconds or anything above like 2.5 seconds, because again, that's revenue. And then I have like what I would say also is there's concepts that I give them cool names to remember them. One of them is lightning loading, which is a concept of doing things much faster for the ads that are in the viewport right now, especially your ATF ads and the first impression. Lower those timeouts, get only your top performing bidders in there, and then add the other bidders back later on, right? They're going to cap out their bids for that user at some point if that user maintains their session on that page. But if you can get like that ad to load that much faster before a user scrolls past it, then that's a valuable impression. Rather than like a 10% lift on something that didn't actually become viewable.
Manish, any thoughts on that based on what we have seen?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Good. I'll talk after you.
Yeah, so we do it for our publishers where we try to load the ads as soon as possible if it is in the ATF position, correct? And then for the BTF, we keep running the auction in the parallel. But for ATF, we reduce the timeout so that we can get the timeouts, the partners in time there, and get the load stats there so that we don't miss the chance. Like what we have seen, one of our publishers was using the platform, and then we noticed that the ATF positions had the lower viewability compared to the mid ones, the in-article ones. When we looked into the GAM report, there is a viewability metric. We found out that it was missing out. The ATF positions were missing out of the viewability because of the time, not for the position, because it was for the time. And that's where we suggested that we have to load the ATF ads as soon as possible compared to the others, because the user might scroll. And then that's where we did. We tried to add the partners on the reduce the timeouts, more direct campaigns to the ATF. And second thing we did, that was a layout optimization where the leaderboard position, the first leaderboard, we kept it sticky for 2 seconds so that it doesn't go away if the user is going there, correct? Yeah, James.
Alexi, do you
I'll
find all this cheating? As per, sorry, James, I'll just come back to you. Uh, Alexi, do you feel that, on the publisher side, us trying to do all these things, does it really mess around with your algorithms, or do you have enough guardrails in place, to address some of this?
Well, as an advertiser, especially as a performance advertiser, as with most of the clients, we are working on the CPC billing model, so we need clicks. The refreshes are not the good thing for us. But on the other hand, as we're working directly with publishers, we use all the same techniques to maximize the revenue for us and for the publishers.
Got it. James, I'm so sorry to have interjected there. Please.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the one thing that I'm super excited about now is the trusted server from the IAB Tech Lab. Not necessarily from like some of the selling points that they originally posted, but being able to get bids at the CDN level, and then render that from GAM. Like imagine not having to do pre-bid for that first impression. Now there are problems with the trusted server. It can't be a full replacement for pre-bid because it's only once per page view. And so you can't refresh like if you were to refresh, you'd have to do it in iframes and other stuff. Like it's just there'd be a problem there. But if you're able to use something like Trusted Server to get server-side bids and then return them to the client and then not do client-side header bidding and just immediately send them to GAM, then you would be able to have kind of the best of both worlds. And so I'm super excited about that. And I've been working a little bit on trying to make that into an optimization we can actually test out for some of my clients.
And to communication, James, like when you say trusted server, do you mean the header bidding in GAM, or is it something else?
Yeah, so I mean the IAB Tech Lab trusted server. I'll drop a link.
And how is it working for apps? Is it going to be the same structure which you have been following for web and mobile apps?
The trusted server is primarily for web. Like mobile apps already have the ability to do a lot of the things that web can't by using the SDKs. So what this does is it like uses pre-bid server, like it interacts with pre-bid server from the CDN. So the CDN can get bids from pre-bid server and then can return that. They can actually return the ad creatives into the source of the page as the user loads that page. But it can also just return those as bids that can then be used in the unified auction inside Google Ad Manager. So the thing you're probably referring to is open bidding or yield groups, which like you have to use GAM to access those, same as AdTech. But being able to get the bids from the pre-bid bidders to then leverage them against the stuff that has to exist in GAM kind of gives us the best of both worlds.
Manish, JD, Akhilesh, did we see any of our SSP clients, be it OpenX or MediaMint, any chatter around, this part?
There's a lot of chatter around this, Shashank, but as it was, I think, announced recently, they haven't tested it yet.
Got it. But are there plans to try it out?
Yes, there are few who wants to try it. Example, there's an SSP that I work with. They are in chat to try this as well.
Got it. Are they seeing any potential, problems that need to be addressed before, going live, etc.?
Not yet. We had a discussion on that, but the initial conclusion was that they'll do A/B testing along with their existing pre-bid and then decide whether to go with it or not.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So what do you think is like the time frame where we might probably be able to see the kind of results coming out of this, advocate it to probably more people? Is it like a quarter at least?
Yes, yes. I think the guidelines are still not clear from IAB, like how an SSP should go about it. But yeah, a quarter or two would be enough time for that.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Great then. I think this has been a great first experiment for us. James, trust me on this. It has been a two-way learning. Thank you for, so much for joining in, bringing in your expertise, putting up the questions. And Sebastian, Tijo, I do hope that you found, session like this useful. As I said, for us, we just wanted to remove the, sales angle from this. For us, you can call this as a round table. You can call this as a session between practitioners. We just wanted to, discuss things that are going around, share perspectives, add additional depth where we can, learn probably, more from whoever is joining in. So, Alexia, and thank you so much for bringing in the perspective from the other side. It has been a pleasure catching up with all of you. And please do let us know, through email or through chat, any feedback that you have, or in fact, even here, there's nothing bad about the critical feedback as well. So anything that you believe can help us improve this kind of a platform, or in first place, do we even need this kind of a platform? So opening or rather closing thoughts from all of you.
I think for me, this is the first time I'm getting into a platform like this, because normally we used to have a discussion with vendor, never with a peer group. So that is an interesting outlook to this whole discussions of the day. I think definitely recommend going forward having much sessions on that similar lines. It would be great if we can have pointers saying that these are the things which we'll be covering up in this coming chatter, so that we can say, for example, there are certain elements of that will be handled by some other people from my team or colleagues who are left from the martech background, so that we can ask them, okay, there is an interesting chatter which is going on this topic, why don't you join in, and then it can be more contributing to everyone. So if that can be also taken care, it is absolutely great. And today it was like, sorry, even I joined in late, but it was a great learning experience.
Thank you so much, Tijo. We will try to, probably given that this is the first time, we wanted to keep it really, really open. But maybe, we would try to focus efforts on one or two different, points or, contexts, which can probably make it a little more focused. Thank you so much for that. Sebastian, you can drop us an email, Sebastian, at any point of time in case you have any further questions. We'll be happy to set up some time. Alexi, any thoughts on how you think we should probably take this forward? Any feedback that you have for us?
Well, the idea of the roundtable is something I really like, and if we can gather like more experts in different parts of the AdTech, then we can, I think, cover more topics and get the answers to the questions anyone can have. So knowledge sharing is always great, and getting the know about the new things, like James shared the trusted server. I've missed this one. So now I'll take it a deeper look into it. So the session was useful. You're muted.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you for the feedback. We will try to see how we could probably bring in more practitioners, and make it a more roundtable-ish thing. But yes, certainly, as I was telling James, this is going to be a two-way learning street. James, your thoughts before we wind up the session for the day?
No, I really appreciate it. I've tried to do some things like this in the past. There's more than like in this industry that I can't do myself. And it's nice to see other people coming and kind of doing this kind of format. I would be more than happy to be a practitioner in something like this, as well as like kind of partner in being able to share and expand the reach. I think that this offers a lot of value to the industry. I would love to see notes sent out about what was discussed, because there's going to be people who couldn't make it, or like this is all like valuable stuff. And I'd love to see that DataBeat is not keeping their optimization strategies close to their chest so much that that's the selling point of working with you, is you have secrets you haven't told us yet. I think that's really a great feeling, that to know that DataBeat's not a company that structures themselves that way. So I think that for me, it makes me want to contribute in a way. Like I can't spend all the time to organize this every week to do something on my own, but I can contribute to other people's efforts in the same vein.
Thank you so much, James, for that. Somehow I think at DataBeat we believe that at the end of the day, the industry is changing so rapidly that whatever we know from last quarter doesn't really work this quarter. Things are so dynamic that now we need to constantly keep ourselves abreast of what's happening. And I think today was a fantastic platform where we learned a lot of stuff from you, from Alexei, from the kind of questions that Tijo was putting up. So all in all, I think it's a great session, and I will definitely pick you up on the offer that you made. Yes, we will probably try to have more sessions. We will definitely circulate the notes, and hopefully the next subsequent sessions, we'll probably be able to discuss more and hopefully add value to the participants. Right. On that note, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, DataBeat team, for taking out time today, being here, and everybody who has chipped in and taken out time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. See you again.
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.
That's fair to know.